Hey guys, Frankie here, and today I'm going to talk about 9 daily hacks to help you save money faster. These are things that I either do or have tried or definitely recommend, and I think there's a couple of ways you can look at hacks. Hacks can either be active or passive. So some of these things do require habit building and you taking action every single day. Others of these things, once you have it set up, you can kind of forget about it, and automation is really the key there. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is actually 2 different apps that I've used and definitely recommend, and that is Acorns and Digit. So Acorns was one that I used back in early 2018. I finally got started after hearing a lot of my friends talk about it. This one was great because I had no savings plan whatsoever. So Acorns rounds up your purchases automatically, and once it hits a certain threshold of, let's say, $5, it moves that money, that change, over. And this is money I don't have earmarked for anything. This is long-term money. It's invested, it's growing. And it even shows you really quickly and easily what this money would be worth if you set it and forget it for 10, 20, 30 years, etc. Digit tracks your spending and decides on its own, I'm not sure what algorithm it's using there, how much that it can set aside in savings towards a rainy day fund. So when I first started with Digit, I was saving just $1 here and there, and it was alerting me via text message. Over time, the more that I used it, the larger the amounts became. So I think one day it even hit something like $35 that it pulled out of my checking and put into this rainy day fund because it determined based on my spending habits that I could afford to do so. I could only get Digit to work for a couple weeks at a time, and then I'd have to reconnect my bank. And I think it's because my bank is a smaller local credit union that I had to continue to reconnect it. So hopefully you don't have the same issues that I had, or they've solved some of those issues. Also, I gotta say, I kind of like the silly text message stuff that Digit does. You can probably turn it off, but yeah, I don't mind this. Now, number 2 is super fun and something I was really surprised to learn because it's so simple, and that is to open up multiple savings accounts. So to do so, you can just do it online. It's just a few easy steps, and you can also name the second savings account however you'd like. So it could be your vacation fund, emergency fund, etc. The other thing you can do with this separate savings account is tell your money where to go. So when you get your direct deposit from work, it doesn't necessarily all have to go into just your checking or just your savings. In fact, I kind of advise you don't do that. Maybe you send 30% to your checking, 50% to your savings, and the final 20% to savings number 2. And this is just a good way to make sure that when that lump sum hits your checking, you're not tempted to spend it on the 1st and 15th or whenever you get paid. So you're gonna need to set that up through work. It's probably super straightforward to do so. I can't guarantee every company will let you do this, but it's just a quick hack where you can tell your money where to go and set up multiple savings accounts. As a bonus, I also have an online-only high-interest savings account through Ally. And so every month, this is actually more manual, but I send money from my savings to my Ally account. I have a goal. I send $1,000 every single month. This money isn't sitting idle in my savings. It's actually earning more interest than I would get with my local credit union. It's something like 2 or 2.1% right now through Ally. The good thing about this is that money is gone when I check my bank account. I don't check my Ally account often, but it's something super simple that will help you automate your savings. And number 3 is kind of more of a habit than it is a hack, and that is to spend 10 minutes every single morning working on your personal finances. You don't go straight to Instagram and lay in bed for 20, 30 minutes and then you're rushing out the door for work. I spend 10 minutes working on something related to personal finance. And usually it's different depending on the day. So usually I go to my credit card first. I don't use my debit card for really anything, to be honest. So I go to my credit card, I see if there's a balance. I'll usually pay that off because I keep my credit cards, I use 2 actively. I keep those at a $0 balance. You can do other things too. You can check on your retirement account. Maybe you want to tweak how much you're saving towards retirement. Mine's super easy on just a slider, what percentage I want to save out of my paychecks towards that 401k. I don't tend to check on any individual stocks that I own because those go up and down every single day, and I think this will actually just drive you nuts if I'm being honest. I might check on my vacation fund. I might check my net worth. I might just review a week of spending on my credit card and just see what categories look higher than others. There's lots of sites out there like Mint that can actually help you do so. You Need a Budget's another one that comes to mind. So I have a folder saved on my desktop in my Chrome browser that has all of my links that I use frequently. And I also have a folder on my phone called Finance, and I'll pop in there and just spend a couple of minutes going through a couple of those apps to see how things are looking. And if there's anything small I could do today to push myself towards my goals a little bit quicker. But it's good just to build that habit to check on your finances and your goals first thing, because this is about you. This isn't about work. This isn't about social media. spend some time on you first thing in the morning. And number 4 is actually kind of similar to number 3, which is to automate everything that you can. So this is your payments to your credit card bills, retirement savings, and your 401k, and maybe your personal IRA or personal Roth IRA. You can even set this up through Acorns, where you send not just the change that's getting rounded up. I do something like $20 every month. I do another, well, I'll put it on the screen here, however much to Betterment, into my 2 Betterment accounts. One is a rainy day fund and one is a personal IRA. And the nice thing about this through Betterment is that I can actually set up when this money moves, and I have it set up, since I get paid bi-weekly, every other Friday that money moves automatically. So I never even see this money hit my checking and savings accounts from work. It's gone usually by the time I check it in the morning, which is great because then I'm not tempted to spend it. Number 6 is getting your interest rate down on your credit card. So if you have a credit card balance, it's actually super simple to call your credit card company and ask if they would lower your interest rate. I've done this before. Usually the first time they're okay with it and they'll offer you a new rate. Just remind them how loyal of a customer you are, how you always make your payments on time, etc. Especially if that credit card's through your bank, they want to make you happy and keep you with them for a long time. So if you let them know that your payments are just too high and you're looking for solutions, offer that as one of the solutions. Just ask. The worst thing they can do is say no. And if you're making large payments, you've dug a deep hole with your credit card, this can make a huge difference. And I know it's not a daily hack because you're not going to call every single day, but as soon as you get that interest rate lowered, it's less you're getting charged on interest every single day, and that adds up. And number 6 is a little bit old school, I'll admit, but that is to use cash every single day for a week. So give yourself an allowance to be used on non-essential purchases. So these are your splurge purchases that I hope you're not making. This is your entertainment on the weekend. This is that takeout meal that you're used to getting every single week. So just that feeling of handing your cash over and looking at how much you have left, odds are it's going to be painful enough to remind you that the same thing is happening every single time you swipe your credit card. It just doesn't feel the exact same way. So this is just a little reminder, a little trick I do sometimes, which is to pull out cash, use it for an entire week or a weekend, and see how long you can make that money last. And it's a good reminder that we're spending money on things we can definitely live without. Now, I want to one-up this actually and say, better yet, try going a week without spending money on non-essentials. So start with a day and then do not swipe your credit card. I actually have left my credit card home when I think I might be tempted to use it at like a baseball game on the concession stand, for example. That forces me to think about, before I go to the game, making sure I have food or bringing my food into the game. Okay, number 7 is a little bit more tangible, and this is to create lists in your Amazon account. Anytime I am tempted to splurge purchase something in Amazon, I put it into some kind of list for all things, I think it's called, or a wish list. Odds are I'm probably gonna forget about this stuff, but I save it for later. It also keeps my spending focused. This is another good thing to do if you're gonna comparison shop, is to create a list for the thing that you're looking for. And you can drop 4 or 5 different products in there, then it's much easier to track them down and compare. So if I were to do this for dog food, for example, or dog supplies, dog products, dog treats, I might drop a few of these different things into a list. Every few days or so, I'll peek at that list and see if prices have gone up or down. Number 8 took me a long time to get good at, admittedly, and this is to learn to say no. It's easy when people invite you to things to say yes because you worry they're gonna stop inviting you, or you haven't seen that friend in a long time, or you've had a hard week, so happy hour sounds awesome. But the key here is to learn to say no, and don't make up an excuse. I would actually encourage you to be completely honest. So you can't go, you're feeling super broke, you got goals, you're saving for a trip, whatever it is, just be honest. And instead of saying no, because that's kind of negative reinforcement, I guess, and I wanna spin this positively, one thing I would encourage you to do is to actually get ahead of this and plan things yourself. So I think in my book, I call it something like being the social leader within your friend group. Taking charge and organizing free activities, whether that's offering to cook a meal for people or board game night, things like that, where it's at someone's house, going to the park and throwing the frisbee, something a little bit more active or fun, like a bike ride. If you have a dog and so does your friend, maybe you guys can meet up at the dog park and then go watch a movie at someone's house after that. So just think of cheap, fun things you can do and try to get ahead of those one-off requests where you realize you don't have anything better to do. I might as well go to that bar, or I might as well go to that show. Okay, and number 9 is another app that I use often, and this is called Tip Yourself. And I am a huge fan of this because it is super simple and it's up to you how you want to make this work for you. So I'll just tell you quickly how I use Tip Yourself. Tip Yourself is basically like Acorns, but manual, so it's like a piggy bank. You have to physically move money from your checking account into your Tip Yourself jar. So I've been using Tip Yourself now for several months, and this is actually what I use to save for my vacation I'm going on here in just a couple of days. Can't believe it's already mid-June. And I tried to gamify this savings process. So what I told myself is that I would tip myself $5 every time I went to the gym. Double incentive there, right? To go get a workout in, send myself $5 afterwards. And this is money that I have gradually over time tipped myself on and saved in a jar, labeled vacation or whatever I called it, to kind of keep my eye on the prize and remind myself I have that vacation coming. And when it comes time to spend this money, I am going to feel zero guilt because I earned it physically at the gym, and I deserve it. And I couldn't believe that this actually added up to over $400. And I upped my frequency of going to the gym from 3 times a week to 4 times a week because I wanted to see how much I could save in time for that trip. In the past, I remember saving up to pay for that initial flight or the Airbnb or even the transportation. But the one thing I was really bad at in the past was saving towards was just the fun spending money. These are things like the dinner or the shows we're gonna go to, and it's really great to have this cash sitting there. Now, I will say this cash is sitting idle and it's not earning any interest, but saving money and setting goals can be mental. So this is just a fun way I try to gamify it and remind myself that I'm going to the gym for a reason and I'm saving this money for a reason, and that's for something fun, like a trip. Okay guys, and the last thing I want to say, the reality is you can't hack your way to riches. There is no silver bullet here. Just continue to learn and get educated and try different things. That's kind of the definition of hacking, is trying different things and see what works for you. Some of these things might work for you, a lot of these things work for me, but it took me years or months or trial and error and failing at a lot of different things to find things that work for me. So again, I encourage you to try these things, set your goals, and see if some of these apps and suggestions and habits might help you get there. So that's it, 9 quick ways that you can save money faster. I hope you got some value out of this, and if you did, I'd appreciate a like or a comment. If you have an idea or a hack yourself, something that you do, I would super appreciate to hear about it because again, I'm always trying new things myself. Subscribe if you have not, lots more coming. For example, I mentioned that vacation we're going on here soon. I plan to do something similar like this, easy ways to save money while traveling. So stick around, stay tuned, subscribe, and as always, I will talk to you soon. Thanks guys. And if you have nothing that you feel like you need to work on, watch a YouTube video like this maybe, or read a book, something like that.